So many doctors in the U.S. say that Prrt, which everybody knows what Prrt is. Raise your hand if you don't know what Prrt is. Okay, good. It's protein receptor bound radiotherapy. Basically, it's a smart bomb. If you know you have a tumor that has receptors on it for compound X, and you can make compound X that goes and binds to the tumor, and then you can plug a radioactive molecule on the compound X, you inject compound X, it swims around and goes and finds to the tumor, binds to it, takes its radioactivity with it, and the tumor commits suicide. It's like a guided missile. Is the idea.
So those are like those radioactive beads that you...
Well, the radioactive microspheres are an unguided missile. They're more like an ICBM. In terms of, we have a path to get to where the tumors are by way of an artery and the blood supply. Like you saw that arteriogram that showed all those blood vessels draping around that big tumor. We can shoot those things right into that tumor by way of that highway and they'll go and stick there. But it's a mechanical thing. They're not smart about it at all. They just go where the blood carries them. And we use the blood and the artery as a highway to the tumor to just carry those microspheres right up into the liver, into where the tumor's at. Suppose you have tumors in your bones, or in your brain, or in your lungs, in addition to your liver. Well, you don't have an artery to the bones and an artery to your brain that you could embolize without causing a stroke. So you want to deal with it some other way. And so, using this stuff, you inject it in the vein, and it just goes all over, and wherever a tumor is, it sticks to it, and binds to it, and takes its radioactivity with it. And so, the people that have had a lot of experience with that are the Europeans, and they have a couple of really cool drugs. It's basically sandostatin labeled with a real hot molecule. And they use yttrium and lutetium. Yttrium is the same stuff, the Y90, yttrium 90 is the same stuff that's on the radioactive microspheres, but in this case, instead of putting on a boat that floats into the liver on the microspheres, they put it on a molecule that goes and binds to the tumor and sticks to it and takes its radioactivity with it. And it's usually a real hot molecule that has a short half-life, so it dissipates, basically like decays and evaporates in a few days, and it's just gone. Anyway, so we now have a colleague that we've worked with when we had another radioactive molecule we developed in New Orleans that we put indium on sandostatin, and we use it like a magic bullet for that kind of thing. Now the next iteration is lutetium. It's just a different radioactive isotope is the idea. And the trick is getting it to stick to the sandostatin, making it stay there, figuring out the right dose so that you don't have side effects, because sandostatin, you remember, is actively taken up and excreted by the kidneys. And so you don't want to cook and fry the kidneys. And so you have to give some stuff to protect the kidneys while you're on this drug and stuff like that. Anyway, Abe Delpason, who's a radiation therapy guy in Houston, is probably going to be starting to use this drug in the near future. Before, you used to have to go to Europe to get it. And it was a big, huge problem getting the FDA to allow us to even do it as an experimental basis. And it's, the FDA makes you jump through a lot of hoops. And so, anyway, that's where we stand with that sort of thing now. And the reason why people use it as a last-ditch effort is because, A, it's expensive to go to Europe and get this treatment. And usually it's done after you're done doing all the other things you can do in this country, just for practical purposes. And after you can, say, cytoreduce, chemoembolize, or do some other things, then you kind of keep this for the places you can't get to surgically or with other therapies. In other places, it's kind of one of the first things they do. Again, there's no book of rules that says this is the way you have to do this. We're all just sort of muddling through trying to figure out the best way. But in general, if you could cytoreduce somebody first, if you only got one bullet in your gun, and you're going to shoot that gun, if you have a smaller target, you'll get a bigger dose in that target than if you have a bunch of targets all over the place. So try and eliminate as much disease as you can first, and then go after it with your, because it's not 100% kill. It's not, we don't have a magic bullet that just, that's it, boom, and it's done. It's a partial. So it's more of a palliative treatment than a curative. Although some people have had dramatic responses and their tumors just melted away. The problem is it's the exception, not the rule. Not everybody has a great, terrific response like that. You know, the tumor can come back afterwards. And so that's the issue with that type of treatment.